So you are here with Tracy, and basically you're cooking with Crazy. And Colin is here with me. He's in his Mega Man suit.
Yeah.
So I am making tri-tip, and that's like a California thing, because like we all know that tri-tip is like not a real cut of meat. And so I have brought my meat to room temperature because we have recently learned that meat cooks best at room temperature. So that is what we are doing. So it's at room temperature, and now we're going to season it. And it's funny because I actually watched this TikTok from a chef in Nolans, and he says that not only is it best for your meat to be brought to room temperature before you cook it, but you know, you see all these other people like beating their meat, you know, with these giant meat tenderizing hammers. But you know, they're really being aggressive with the meat, and it's supposed to make it more tender, more juicy, you know, when you eat it. However, according to this quite famous chef whose name escapes me right this minute, that is not what you should do. You should massage your meat. So that's what I'm doing. I am massaging my meat while dry seasoning it. I mean, it's not really dry, although I did pat the meat dry with a paper towel to take out all the extra moisture from the meat. And that's because you know, I want my seasoning to be absorbed, and if there's too much moisture in the meat, it's not going to do that. It's gonna like slide off the meat. So again, I'm dry rubbing the meat and rubbing it in, and now you're gonna laugh kind of at what I'm gonna do next, okay? Because it will not 100% make sense. So I am, you know, I'm wearing gloves because I don't like to touch the meat, because then I have to do a lot of like hand washing in between. So with my clean hand, I'm going to grab from my butcher block, and these are, they're called Imo Joy, and it's funny because it's kind of like, sounds like an Asian name, but it's not. These are handcrafted in Germany, and they're very, very sharp. When I first bought them and I was taking them out of the packaging, they still had the plastic and you should never do what I'm doing right now, the waving sharp knives for your face. So when I first got them and I was taking them out of packaging, they still had plastic on them and they were in cardboard. It cut straight through the plastic and the cardboard and cut my hand. So that's how sharp they are. So now I'm gonna put my hand back in the plastic. And I'm going to cut the meat like this, and then like this. And that is going to, not deep, literally very shallow cuts. And that is just so that when I go back and, again, lightly season and then massage, the seasoning is going to get into the meat. So now I'm going to show you my handiwork before I massage the meat again. But before I do that, of course, I'm going to remove, clean hand, so that you can see. See, they're just light cuts. Okay? So now I'm going to re-glove. See how I'm re-gloving so that I'm not, you know, cross-contaminating anything. I want to do that. And now again, I'm massaging the meat with my dry seasoning. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. Cut in one direction. Again, not deep cuts. They're just surface cuts. Again, because we just want that seasoning to just seep in, and it's going to continue to do this as it cooks, because the juices are going to start to push up through that upper layer of the meat, and as it does that, the seasoning is going to slide through. So now that I have properly seasoned my meat, I'm going to place it, the first piece, onto my foiled flat sheet. And I'm going to move on to my second piece of meat. Because it's a large family. You know, there's like 7 of us. And I'm the only female and I don't eat hardly anything. I do not eat very much. So my second piece of meat that has been, you know, towel dried. And of course I've trimmed the fat. If we were barbecuing this on, you know, a grill outside with wood, I would not take nearly as much fat off because it gives it an incredible flavor. So since it is going to be broiled in the oven, I did take probably 97% of the fat off. And I don't like fat, so I'm just a little bit for the flavoring. So now again, I am going to dry season. And my preferred seasoning would be Suzy Q, but this is COVID, guys, it's COVID. So we're going with Pappy's garlic herb and some coarse ground black pepper, okay? So, massaging my meat, okay? Flip, season, and I'm pretty generous with it because, like I said, it is going to, it's going to kind of get juicy in the oven, broiling. So it will, some of the seasoning will kind of dissipate. So I want to make sure it's seasoned well. And those little slices we're going to make, that's going to help that seasoning to seep into the meat, and we do want that. But I do like to make sure that there's enough. I don't like, you know, flavorless meat. Okay, now our surface cuts again. Now the opposite direction. More dry seasoning. Massage. Man, I need a massage, not just the meat, I need it. Ugh. House full of men, I'm telling you. Only lady, well, the dogs. I do have 2 schnauzers. So, I mean, I don't think they count, you know, it's not the same. We can't sit around and have girl talk with 2 dogs, you know. I mean, they talk back. It just doesn't, they don't speak human. It's not nearly the same. I mean, we go shopping. I mean, I'm not saying I've never bought dog clothes before, but it's not the same. Okay, so now we have done that. It's seasoned both sides. It's been massaged. We've made our surface cuts. So now it's going to go on to our meat. And now it's going to rest for about 8 minutes. And the reason that you do that again is because you want your dry seasoning to settle. Too many people, again, they will cook meat that is cold, fresh from the fridge. They don't allow their marinade to really sink into their meat. So that's again why we're allowing it to rest. So we're going to be resting it before we put it into the oven. That allows the oven time for it to come to the appropriate temperature. So while it's resting, I'll finish prepping, and then we will come back and we'll add the soy sauce and beer, a little beer to our tri-tip before we place it into the oven on broil. And of course we want to bring it to the right temperature in the center. So after it's been in the oven on broil for probably about 30 to 45 minutes, I will of course check it with a meat thermometer in the center, which is going to be its thickest. And you only want to put it halfway through the meat. That way you're in its center and you make sure that you get the right temperature. And that's when the thermometer says medium for beef. And then that's when we'll know that it's about ready. We'll pull it out, and of course you're going to want to slice it in that same place that you check the thermometer to ensure that you have the right redness that you're looking for, because traditionally tri-tip is served medium, and then that's when we'll serve it up. So right now we're going to take a little break and come back for part 2 when we start working on the sides, and then that's that. So I'll see you back for part 2. Thanks.